Guess who's back? Back again. Daggy's back. Tell all your friends. Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Terrible.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Let's kick it off.
Tonight on Kickoff. Look, we've earned the right to a semi-final, but no need for any pats on the back just yet. We've flushed the dunny on Ireland and still on the merry-go-round, so that's pretty good. We'll keep an eye on those big little numbers up front who set the platform and make sure we follow the processes so that our controlled excitement reflects into organised chaos on the park. Sound good? Yeah. And as always, surprises, dad jokes and some questionable chat. Let's bloody well kick it off then, eh? How was that? Was that any good? Righto.
Oh, very good, very good. Daggy, great to see some energy from you, mate. Welcome back, but great to see the energy in the intro.
Energy to this panel because I
Yeah,
haven't
but
seen much
it must be said,
couple
last week, pathetic, like absolutely pathetic. Like your energy levels were absolutely.
No, it's just showing different parts of who I am as a.
I can't believe you're praising that.
I wasn't praising that. Oh, the intro was good. Well, come on, mate. Better than
I'm glad we had.
G'day, everyone. I'm Mills Mullaina and I'm an ex-All Black.
I'm glad we had that.
Speaking of you, Millsy, great to see you as well, mate. You've been here, there, and everywhere. The breakdown on Tuesday, so we're expecting some,
There it is.
you know,
Just working hard.
fresh, full of knowledge
Yep.
and expertise, mate. You know, how do you rate that show compared to obviously being on here a little bit more relaxed?
You know,
Come on,
No, don't rate it. Don't rate it. Actually, don't rate it.
I won't.
Yeah, no, they're good. Stace, what have you been up to this
Just
week?
a little bit of training, a little bit of study. You know, we know the importance of a dual career, so just focusing on my post-sporting career options.
What are you studying?
Been doing a bit of business, postgrad stuff.
Oh, nice business, yeah, good stuff. And Brynner, you've been 1 week into your holiday.
That's been good, mate.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Been on a bit of a detox from last week, but just back into training now. Going to sort of a few things out. I'm heading down to actually Nelson on Saturday, mate, to see the big mighty Tasman, mate. Big mighty Finns.
We'll touch on that later, but we're going to go to semi-finals footy over in Japan, where our All Blacks are taking on England in what is going to be an absolute doozy this weekend. And a battle that I want to see head-to-head, first and foremost, is Ardie Savea versus Tom Curry for England. Now, Millsy, I'm going to come to you on these two. Now, we know how awesome Ardie's been this cup so far, but these two banging heads at the breakdown is going to be something to behold in itself, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be huge. And you look at this man on the screen at the moment, Curry, and then, you know, he brings a sort of physicality to the game. Also, defensively, Ardie, while we all know what he's done here in New Zealand, you know, he's had a sensational year. But I kind of look at the way sort of things have gone. I mean, you look at the All Blacks, their back, their trio, but also like Curry, Underhill, and then you've got Vunipola, who's been there. I mean, you add those guys together, you know, you've got defensive. I mean, you look at these stats here. I mean, from a metres point of view, he doesn't run a lot. But when you're talking defence, you know, that's his biggest, I suppose, strength is defence. You know, combine that with Underhill, and then you got, you know, Vunipola at the back, who, man, he is carving up some good metres. And so, I mean, they all complement each other. When you look at the All Blacks, similar thing as well. They've got Scott, you know, Barrett in there now. So I think the combination, that sort of Lucy's, and you know, the battle they're going to have is going to be massive.
It is going to be massive, and it's great to see Ardie Savea, those defensive stats. Only missed one tackle this whole tournament, so he's been huge on the defensive side of the nut. Another guy that always goes good for the All Blacks, Stace, is Sam Whitelock. Now, he's the most experienced All Black in terms of Rugby World Cups. I think he's been to the last 3, and he's played 18 games and hasn't lost one. He's huge for this team, isn't he?
Oh, he's an absolute workhorse. I think he's kind of like the glue to the set piece. You know, he's good in the scrums, he's good for the line-outs, and if he does his job, I think everyone else will be hissing him because he's just strong, man. Big ball carrier.
Izzy, you know how, you know, like his experience, Dagger, but it's what he does, the basics so well, doesn't he? That's what he's always done.
You never, like all the other guys get all the accolades, you know, you hear a lot about Brodie and Scooter Barrett, but this guy just does all the hard yards. He puts his head into some dark places, makes his tackles, gets the line-out ball. He's great on the defensive line-out as well, so he puts the opposition line-outs under the...
Yeah, the best thing with Sammy as well, I've never ever seen him flustered. So I've been fortunate enough to play with him for the last 3 years, but the way he's just so cool, calm and collected, I think you need that in a semi-final coming up against England.
I'm going to come to you on a guy that doesn't get flustered either, and he's the guy that feeds the Boanga combination, mate. Aaron Smith, Nugget, he's been in some of his best form he has in the last couple of years at this World Cup, and I just want to know, how does he direct that traffic? Because there's two guys that are generally, they run the ship for their Super Rugby teams, but how do they manage that?
I think it'll probably actually help out the halfbacks even more. I know traditionally you've got a 10 that talks to, so obviously in this case you've got Richie here, but the thing with having Bodie there as well, you've just got two playmakers that can give you really good communication, but then as well, it takes actually Bodie out a little bit where he's actually getting a lot more dividends running with the ball and playing freely, but for Nuggie, he's had an awesome opportunity, he's had an awesome tournament, but I think it just helps me even more.
I thought they were all the halfbacks were pretty even before that game. I don't think there was too much difference between each one of them, but that was probably the best game I've seen Nuggie have for a very long time. He was quick to the ball. He was, he scored 2 tries around the edges and just really cemented his spot as the number one.
And I think on that as well, Conor Murray probably got the better of him the last couple of times that he's played, and I know that he's a massive competitor, so he would have got a lot of value and a lot of been really happy around that performance he did on the weekend.
Yeah, nice, mate. One guy that was a bit of a surprise selection, I suppose, that came out was at 6, and that was Scotty Barrett. Now, is he basically just picked to bulk up this sort of All Blacks forward pack to take on a pretty massive English side?
I think so, and he offers something different to Sammy. Sammy just does all the, he's pretty solid. He's like a Sam Walton, makes his tackles, he's great out of the breakdown. Artie and Scooter, Scooter's another line-out option as well, so they got options there with that. And he's great around the ball, and I think just every time he's come off the bench, he's provided that impact that we need off the bench, and I don't know, Millsy did.
I didn't really expect that.
No.
I thought they'd go out there and have the same sort of lineup. Sam Cane is massive, particularly on defence. Yeah. But perhaps the All Black coaches are seeing the lineup. Maybe they think defensively, or they can actually try and attack the English, who are not relatively. They haven't really got tall timber there. So perhaps that's probably another reason. Barrett's physical as well. So. Obviously they're seeing, something that we haven't sort of seen in terms of the way that they can combat that. But then you bring Sam Cane on and, man, he can finish the job off. Not bad.
Any tips around his sort of try scoring? It's not that great, eh?
He's like a Zach Gilford, dives with his knees. Just try and dive ball first and then kind of slide a little bit.
Dive properly, yeah.
A little bit uncoloured.
Oh, come on.
All right, we're going to have a look at England now, and I'm going to start up front in the front row, and I'm going to go to my front row specialist. Israel Dagg.
Yes.
For obvious reasons. 3 weeks and 3 weeks.
Wow.
And you put a little bit on around the hips. But
come on.
These guys, Mark Avonapolo,
Joey, you
Jamie
shirt
George
off in the green
and
room.
Kyle
You
Sinclair.
can't throw stones, all right?
Seriously good front row, mate. They've got it all, eh?
Yeah, they just got real solid backs, They're actually real quality and they're very mobile as well. Sinclair scored an absolute wonderful try on the weekend. That was some terrible D by Australia. And then you got George. What's his last name? Yeah, that's George.
Jamie George.
That's him. Just good throw out, line out, and then Vunipola. I think one thing I want to see is someone absolutely smash Sinclair. I just want to see him.
He's got a big mouth, doesn't he? You did a wee reenactment of the scrummaging.
You want to see it?
Yeah, I just want to see, in terms of a flat back, what do you want to see from that front row? What do you want to see from that?
Oh, sorry.
We got to do something else here, bro.
Another guy with a big back. Another guy with a big back. Milton.
Just got off the plane.
Bit of a strain on there, brother.
Is Manu Tuolangi. Yes. Now, this guy, $1 million on attack, but defensively has been a little bit shaky. Aussie sort of found a few holes through that midfield. What do you want to see the All Blacks do to try manipulate that?
Well, that's the thing. He's often sort of wanting him to make bad decisions, and more often than not, he has, because he just wants to, he sees red and wants to just nail someone. I think he might be a little bit wide. I think I think forwards coming in. They haven't named their team yet, but perhaps going a little bit wider and seeing the All Blacks, as you say, manipulate him a little bit more. Have some guys off the ball, running a few decoys. Just sort of trying to sort of engage him a little bit. Lie with the eyes, say Izzy, as they would always say. You're good at it. You're good at it, Izzy. You're good at it. But yeah, I'd like to see them sort of, and perhaps we've seen it against the Irish. They've got massive inroads out wide, well over the game line. And so if they can do that, especially with Manu out wide, I think, the All Blacks, could go a long way into winning this game. Yeah.
Well, on to the playmakers now. I'm going to start with Owen Farrell. Now, I think this guy, we're speculating here. We think, Bryn, he's going to start at 12. Now, this guy, he's been the key to England's attack for many years. But if he plays well, they're more of a chance of having success against the All Blacks this weekend, aren't they?
It is, and I think it's very similar to, you obviously talk about Bodie and Richie being the 10 and 15, but, you know, George Ford and Owen Farrell have spent a bit of time in the past couple of years getting that combination right. So I think the biggest thing with Owen is his actual leadership skills that he has. I think his time in the Lions when he came in 2017, he was outstanding, and then just from that form, he's been a real focal point in their team, and he's obviously one of their captains within the squad. And as you can see here, obviously he doesn't have the stats don't tell a lot, but having that guy on the field is crucial for England.
He's an ex-leaguey, mate, you know, so he just runs solid lines and tackles all day.
Good stuff, Daggy. Good background, mate. Way to do your Wikipedia checks. Lastly, our other man is George Ford. You touched on it. They sort of look like they're going with that Bawanga, their version. We came up with the 4L. Yeah, the 4L. Ford and Farrell. Do you like this combination, Stacey?
I think it's pretty epic, eh? Like having a 10 and 12 playmaking, they're so important, and they dictate the play when it comes to the game plan. So, man, he wants to get on that field and wants to make a statement because semi-finals footy.
All right, well, two people that will be on the ground, one being a Pom and the other being a Kiwi, and getting us all the inside goss is Kirsty Stanway and James Haskell. They're joining us live from some sort of dodgy ramen joint in the middle of Tokyo. What have you guys gone with there? What sort of ramen?
We don't actually want to be here together. We don't really get on, so we've just decided to do our own thing, eat our own meals.
I'm not getting paid enough to be in it.
If you line up, sit up straight. Look at this. He squishes me.
Honestly, you have to be very careful. It's 2019, so crushing a woman in a ramen joint is no good.
How's the feeling over there, guys? Obviously, the Brave Blossoms got bundled out last week. Does that mean that all the Japanese are now defaulting to be All Blacks fans?
100%. I've not seen any red and white jerseys around. Have you, James?
No, I haven't actually. I was in the gym the other day, shock, and I was walking around, and there was about seven Japanese people wearing All Blacks vests. I mean, someone out here must be peddling them out of a boot of a car. There was a description of a brunette woman answering to Kirsty, flogging them for cash in hand. But I'm very concerned that there is some sort of weird takeover here. That I don't know why they're not supporting English. We're just such lovely people.
Millsy here. I just want to ask, I know Eddie Jones, he's been massive in the news over here at the moment. You've had, I suppose, a little bit of, you know him very well. He was the last man to drop you, I believe. I think you had something wrong with your toe. Can we read more into that, really? Or did you really get on with him, or what's he like as a person?
No, so firstly, you're making light of what was a very serious injury. I think to find a toe, you need a toe for everything. You don't think you do, but you definitely do. No, actually what happened is he came to my house, and which was the mark of the guy, actually, and dropped me kind of in person and kind of thanked me for everything that I'd done. And then being the kind of resilient man I am, I proved him wrong, got back into the squad. And then I was hoping to obviously finish in the World Cup, but sadly I had to go to him and say, listen, I'm going to retire. My toe's no good, can't run anymore. But the problem is David Hay, the world champion boxer, made toe injuries very unfashionable when actually they are quite grave. I want to set up some sort of Just Giving page.
We haven't got long enough, bud.
You know.
Hask, Daggy.
That's what he's like. But basically,
we're just going to talk lids here, bud. I've got my lid done. Do you want to get yours done?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with this.
Oh,
there's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah, we were actually saying, Izzy, if you didn't play rugby, what would you be? And we were trying to work it out, and then we went virgin. So don't worry about your lid, mate. My chat's on fire. When this goes, I've still got the beard and chat for days. I'm on fire. I'm fine.
Mate, I can help you. I'm just saying, I can help you.
No, do you know what I want to do? Is actually, people keep coming at the hair. Yeah, it is slipping up the back. It's someone described it the other day as receding faster than my career, but I actually point out I was already retired. And that what I want to do is actually, instead of getting it plumbed back in, is go for an awkward syrup, which would just be kind of thing. So I'd wear a wig, but every time I did anything, it would just sort of slide over my face. But everyone would be too polite to say anything. So I'm trying to go for something like that.
Man,
but I might get it sewn back in. I'll tell you what I was thinking. I might get AstroTurf.
Wait, we'll just stop you there, mate. I've got a question for you there, mate. I hear, sorry, mate, it's Bryn talking here. I heard there's a bit of a story that's obviously you just think the huck is for just for dancing, but I hear that you used to actually get some headphones on and actually watch the haka and use it as a bit of motivation when playing games. Is that right, or?
Yeah, I did, no, 100%. So obviously everyone over here talks about the haka. You know, for me, I think it's amazing. Obviously, it's a little bit concerning that when you go to New Zealand, the school kids are doing it, your nan in the post office is doing it. You know, everyone's doing it, and everyone says it's a welcome. Everyone says it's a welcome. It's not. It's a challenge. Everyone's slitting their throats, pretending to throw spears, stamping the ground. I'm pretty sure everyone wants a fight. 5 to 9, 9 to 5 in New Zealand. So when I first faced it, I found it very motivational, right? I thought, brilliant, you know, it's inspiring. You're playing the best team in the world. They're offering you out for a fight. I'm like, you know, not shrinking violet.
Hi, Kirsty.
So what I then did was got a recording of it and started listening to it on my iPad and iPod before Premiership games. So I loved it. And then I met Ma and met Daggy and a few other lads at Mills and realised that they just can't dance, can't sing, sticking their tongue out, can't do anything. And I just started laughing, and then obviously, you know, when they dropped me like a hot potato when I stopped playing New Zealand, I then started finding it inspiring again.
Good on you, mate. Unreal. Great detail.
Jeez, isn't it? Great detail. I'd hate to be coached by you, Haskell. You just go on and on. One last question, mate. You're making a move into MMA, and being a good Highlander man that you are, I've heard a couple of stories about your time down in the Highlanders territory. Is there one man that you might have met up while you were down there that you wouldn't want to get into the ring with? Maybe someone that you met up on a Mad Monday with and had a wee tussle with?
Well, interestingly enough, I wasn't ever going to talk about this story, but Lena decided to mention this. And what had happened, what he forgot to was that I don't name names. Sorry, I won't name names. Too busy. I've named names. I don't care. He's named me. He's done me on a podcast and TV. I don't care. Right. But anyway, the rest of the lads we won't mention. Rhymes with Schmeilanders players were at my house after having a few waters, and one thing led to another. I got egged, decided that I wasn't having that in my own house, as everyone else was trying to blow it up. I then jumped over the fire, banged out Lima, and then his mate Kay Pokey came flying in. I got held by Whopper. There's a few guys, but luckily I survived, but I did have to wear a bit of a cut on the nose and take stitches. But to be honest with you, did me a favour, because this, you know, body like Baywatch, face like Crime Watch.
Kirsty, I just want to say, we haven't really heard from you today, mate, but you know, how are you holding up? You know, Dagger's left you, Millsy's left you. How are you holding up? Obviously, surely Haskell will keep you warm now. He'll be able to chew your ear off for the next hour or so, keep you happy.
That's the problem. He just keeps talking to me, keeps gazing into my eyes. The baby blues are getting me better. I think we're going to go back to the ramen now, Joey.
Yeah,
That's me dropping the mic.
I've never been so insulted in my life.
Good on you, Haskell. Enjoy the ramen too, guys. Oh, wow. Oh, gee whiz. Hey, how good.
Is the show done?
He can't talk. I think we might have been at least 10 minutes there. Those stories just went on and on, didn't they?
I'd love to just sit down and have a coffee with them.
Oh, right. All right, well, let's get on to our next semi-final. Wales versus South Africa. Now, this is going to be an absolute doozy. I think South Africa, in terms of the stats, they're all over the Welsh team, but you know, can we read too much into that, you think, Dagger, in terms of stats? You can't read into that, can we?
I think it's going to be an absolute boring game, to be honest. No, I watched South Africa on the weekend, and they just went back to the old them and kind of just kick, and then at halftime they kind of slowed. I thought Japan were going pretty well, and they tried to play Japan's game, and at halftime they just had to go resort back to their kicking, and then they'll out physical Japan.
I reckon they almost look like they've sort of dipped a little bit. They've plateaued. I mean, you've got to remember too, they went over a lot earlier because they played Japan before that. And you spoke to Kirsty about how she's coping. But sometimes when you're overseas and it's a long tour, you know, when you get to the third week, fourth or so week as well, you start thinking about home and wanting to go home. And I just feel that South Africans have actually either plateaued or actually taken a dip, and you kind of just want them to actually spark up a bit. So. And I think Wales will beat them. I honestly believe they will. They just seemed a lot better outfit, and mentally they just look like every time they have to come back and win big moments, they've done that against different teams.
Yeah.
Well, one guy that always delivers for the Welsh side, and that's Alan Wynne-Jones. Now, every team needs an old battler, and this guy personifies old battler for this Welsh team, Brendan. Like, he goes great guns, doesn't he?
Yeah, obviously very similar to how we talked about with Sam Whitelock. Just does all the nitty-gritty work that nobody sees on TV. Obviously really good with his set piece, and as you can see, a bit of a ball carrier, but I think with him, the amount of test matches he's played, and again, it comes back to, like the boys have talked about throughout the show, and Stacey, having big moments and having key leaders on the field, especially in a semi-final like this.
And Stace, a guy for the South African side. Well, let's have a look at the stats first. And he just does everything right. Tackles, huge work rate, massive minutes, carries. He can do it all. Line-out steals, a couple of line-out steals, but I wouldn't mind seeing a few more on that. But another guy that always delivers for the South Africans is Peter Steph du Toit. And he's big, strong frame, Stacey. He's been doing it for a couple of years for the South African team. Can play all the loose forwards positions. So he's really valuable for the South African side this weekend.
Yeah, you need that experience, in big games like this. And like you said, he's a strong ball carrier. He knows his job. He does it well. And yeah, you need people like that on the field.
Yeah,
he's always hungry, and he's the sort of guy when someone has made a break, he's chasing back, man. He works 100% all the time and loves getting amongst the physical stuff, but also got a massive, massive engine.
Yeah, he goes real good, doesn't he? He's been one of the outstanding guys. Whether he's coming off the bench or whether he's starting, he's always going good. Well, one person that's been going good over in Japan is Kirsty, and she's been dominating the kickoff challenges, dominated both of you. No. Let's see if she takes down Izzy in the arcade challenge. We're going to the arcade in Japan to see if she beat Izzy.
She doesn't want to play this.
Oh, bad knees, Diggy. He's about to get up. Mario first.
Oh, basketball, what do you want?
I just want to go play games.
You ready for this?
For what?
You're
hiding.
hopeless.
What are you going to be?
I'm my little mate.
Mushroom man. That's a fitness fighter.
What for?
You need to get redemption.
What for?
So I bet you social roulette. You know, man.
That was so long ago, I
It's
can't
photo
remember.
evidence.
Can't remember.
It's on video.
You ready for this?
Born ready. Get out.
Oh no! Bad start, nigga! Bang! Turbo!
Izzy,
Yo!
what's your highlights been?
My highlights been the ramens. I love ramen, everyone knows I love ramen, so eating good food. And obviously the Japanese rugby, I've been very impressed with how Japan have hosted it and the rugby team as well.
Who do you reckon's going to win?
Semi-finals, I think New Zealand will play South Africa in the final. Ah!
Yes!
Come on!
Yes!
Bang!
Oh, Izzy!
Who do you reckon's going to win the semi?
All Blacks and All Blacks. Yes!
You got to answer! Get out of here! Go on! Go! Yes!
I hate this game. Wow.
Oh, very competitive. Well done, Digger.
Finally.
Taking the title. Well done,
Finally.
mate.
There it is.
Too
Those
easy.
triceps,
Your
mate, how
triceps
pretty.
looking good, mate. I reckon you could make a comeback. Comeback. Well done, son.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, she was easy. She was actually easy. Oh,
Too easy.
Good. Too easy.
We've covered off the Rugby World Cup semi-finals. Now we're going to go to the finals of the Mitre 10 Cup, Farah Palmer Cup and Heartland Championship. Bay of Plenty take on Izzy's Hawke's Bay, Friday, 7 p.m. Canterbury
Hawke's
Women
Bay.
versus Auckland Storm, Saturday, 12 p.m. North Otago versus Wanganui in the Meads Cup at 3 p.m. Then My Tassie take on Wellington live Saturday at 5:30. Then the Otago Spirit versus the Hawke's Bay Tui.
Go the Tuis!
And then West Coast versus South Canterbury for the Lahore Cup to round off your weekend. What are our picks, guys? Hawke's Bay versus Bay of Plenty.
Hawke's
Bay.
Alex Ainley's 100th Mitre 10 Cup game. Who are we going? Bay of Plenty.
Hawke's Bay.
Bay of Plenty.
Hawke's Bay.
Bay of Plenty.
Bay of Plenty.
Yeah,
it is.
Plenty.
Farah Palmer, Auckland versus Canterbury.
On the fence, but
Canterbury.
probably
Canterbury. And then we're going to go Tasman versus
Wally!
Settle down. What do we
Our
got?
mate Tory Jane.
Yeah. And did we mention the Bay versus Hawke's Bay?
Yeah,
we did.
the Bay.
We did.
Hawke's Bay.
All right, team. Well, it's been a pleasure hosting you on the Kickoff this season. Thank you very much. Thanks to the crew, and we'll see you for the Christmas special in December. Fins up. Go the Marcos. Keep it on!